Okay, so today's lesson is 9-8 and it's using the discriminants. So we're continuing with quadratic equations. So I'm going to read, I took a screenshot of your textbook, and so we're going to look at some examples before we do the lesson. We're going to use numbers of real solutions and x-intercepts. So it says here the quadratic equation can have 2, 1, or no solutions. You can determine how many solutions a quadratic equation has before you solve it by using the discriminant. Okay, the discriminant is the expression under the radical. So right here, this right here, that's the discriminant. And so we're going to use that to find out how many solutions our quadratic equation has. I've got, again, 3 pictures of graphs that we're going to look at. If you didn't have an equation, but you wanted to find out how many solutions that equation has, so you didn't have, they didn't say to solve it. They gave you, there you go. They gave you this equation right here, and they gave you a graph. And if you look at the graph crosses the x-axis. Again, this is the x-axis. It crosses it in 2 points. Okay, this equation right here, this is represented by this graph. And this graph crosses our x-axis at 1 point. And this one, this equation, is above the x-axis, so this is no solutions. So when you cross 2 places on the x-axis, it has two points. This equation crosses 1 place at the x-axis, and this has above the x-axis, so it is no solutions. Okay, now that's if you were to have graphs to look at. When you don't have any graphs, this is what we need to do. So it says to determine how many solutions the quadratic equation will have, determine the value of the discriminant. And again, the discriminant is the b squared minus 4ac. So whatever your b squared minus 4ac is, you do the math. If it comes out to be a positive, that equation has 2 solutions. Once you do the math, you do b squared minus 4ac, and you end up getting 0, then the equation has 1 solution. And if you do b squared minus 4ac and the answer is negative, then the equation has no solutions. So stop the tape and go ahead and copy down those notes, because you will need those notes. You need to know that positive is 2 solutions, 0 is 1 solution, and negative is no solution. Okay, now we're going to do a couple of practice problems. Okay, so here's our first equation right here. Right here. We're going to do this one first. So first thing you need to do, is it in standard form? So now, is this in ax squared plus bx plus c? Is that equal to 0? Is this in standard form? And we say no, it's not, but you need to put it there. So I'm going to keep my ax, or my x squared here. I'm going to move this positive 3 to the other side, so I'm going to subtract 3x. And I'm going to move this negative 7 to this side also, so I'm taking the opposite, so it's positive 7. And everything on that side is 0 because I moved everything over. Now is this in standard form? Ax squared plus bx plus c, it is. So my a is 1, my b is negative 3, and then my c is positive 7. Then again, we need to use our discriminant. So we're only using what's inside of the square root on our, here is our quadratic formula. It's negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4 times a times c all over 2a. But in order to do this problem, all we're worried about is what's inside of the quadratic equation, what's inside of the house right here. So we are just going to use that. That's all the math we have to do. So I've got b squared minus 4ac. So I take my b, which is -3, and I square that. Minus 4, and my a is 1, and my c is 7. And now we're going to do the math. And it's all equal to 0, we'll say. I don't think it doesn't even need to be equal to 0. We're just going to do the math, okay? So now we're just going to go -3 times -3. And let me change the color here. -3 times -3 is +9. -4 times 1 is -4. And then we're going to multiply that by 7. So we have 9, and we end up with -28. Okay, and then we're going to go ahead and finish this off. We're going to keep, change, and I've got -28 minus 9. I would do the math, and it would be -19. So it's -19. Okay, so we said up here, if our answer is negative, this is a no solution problem, because the answer that we got after we did the math was no solution, and that's my answer to the first one. Okay, now we're going to do the same thing with the next one. We're going to use our discriminant. So now I have, first of all, ask yourself, is it in standard form? And it is. Our a is 1, our b is -4, and the c is -1. So again, it's b squared minus 4 times a times c. And we're going to do the math and find out what we end up with. So our b is -4, so I'm going to say -4 squared minus 4 times 1 times -1. -4 times -4 is +16. Then I've got -4 times -1 is going to be 16. Negative and negative is +4, and that equals 20. Okay, so then I go back up to my notes. And I scooted over too far. If it's a positive answer, in the yellow, it's a 2 solutions. So it's positive. So this one is +20. So this becomes 2 solutions. That's how many solutions I will find. And then the last one, I look and see, and I say, okay, is it in standard form? And it is. I'm going to find my a, b, and c. So my a is 1, my b is 6, my c is 9. Again, it's b squared minus 4 times a times c. So my b is 6. So I'm going to go 6 squared minus 4. My a is 1. My c is 9. Okay, so now I've got 6 times 6, 36. -4 times 1 is -4. Then -4 times 9 is -36. And I get 0. So again, I'm going to go up to my notes. And I look and I say, okay, if I get an answer that is 0, it has 1 solution. So then I go back down here, and I have this answer is going to be 1 solution. And that's how you do that. using the discriminant to determine how many solutions the equation has. That's it.